It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome. By the way, I do requests. All right, I got this from John. Sent this to me. Hi, nightly longtime listener. I enjoy the show. Very enjoyable. When you talked about fracking today, you mentioned Fettermen on Meet the Press. I didn't hear you mention how when he was pressed or asked about fracking by Kristen Welker, he kept saying something to the tune of, well, they're saying they eat cats and dogs. You had played another clip of another lie he told. That interview was full of them. I felt Fettermen put a thumb in my ear.
Ew.
I found it amusing if you watch him closely. Just a thought, not a sermon. Well, that's okay. I'll play the entire audio cut.
Sure.
We weren't actually talking specifically about Fettermen. We just added him in to a part of the conversation. But since you mentioned it, it is. I think it is appropriate to play it along with when we talked about Andrew Cuomo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad you wrote that, John. Thanks so much. And this is part of it with Welker and Fettermen yesterday on Meet the Press, the back and forth. And this was on fracking.
I know you've talked about this quite a bit. Vice President Harris, as you know, once supported a ban on fracking when she was running for president in 2020. She even sued the Obama administration to prevent fracking off California's coast. Now she says she will not ban the practice as president. Why should voters trust that that is really what the vice president believes?
It's so strange why we just keep talking about fracking. Back in 2020, I said that that might be an issue, but it's not going to be a defining issue. And now in 2024, we're still trying to talk about fracking. And now the other side, they're talking about eating cats and geese and dogs and saying absurd things and talking about how if Trump doesn't win, he said that, you have to blame the Jews on that and just absurd things, like having a serious policy conversation when the other side is just absolutely on fire. And here's where we are. And here we are also that it's going to be very close in Pennsylvania, and it's not going to be defined by fracking.
Well, we are talking about it because, of course, it supported 120,000 jobs back in 2022. Let me read you some of what you have said about fracking. In 2016, you called it a stain on Pennsylvania. In 2018, you said you don't support fracking at all. But then in 2022, you said you absolutely support fracking. Senator, what exactly do you like about fracking now?
It's strange for some weird gotcha, kind of taking quotes out of context. And, here I am now. I'm a United States Senator, and I won by 5 points, a record margin back in 22. And again, it might be an issue in fracking, and I fully support fracking. So does the Vice President Harris. And now if you want to have a serious conversation about policy, then I would challenge Trump and Vance to have one other than talking about eating pets.
And we'll have plenty of questions for Senator Lindsey Graham. There's no doubt about that. But to the point, what do you now like about fracking? You say you're not going to ban it. You support it now.
They're eating dogs. They're eating cats. Again, so, okay. Yes. And any more on fracking? I think.
Well, I want to ask you about the Middle East, actually.
He would 3 times he wouldn't answer the question.
Yeah, look, it's the attempt to be dismissive.
Right. This issue was important.
And compare the two. And by the way, he's a senator from Pennsylvania. He may have a point on fracking not being the top issue. In Pennsylvania, you take a position on it, and just a little bit of advice, you better be pro-fracking, and you better be able to back up as to why.
Well, the big lie was that by implying the cats and dogs, that the Trump administration was not talking about policy of substance, which is absolutely untrue. That's a lie from Fettermen, as we all know. But it's a fact. He simply has to say, see, the thing is, he's another one. He can't answer honestly right now where he stands.
No,
That's why he didn't answer the question.
Right.
And to sit there and say fracking doesn't matter. Look, we played the audio cut that was Trump side by side on inflation saying, look, the first thing we're going to do is our goal is to drastically lower energy prices. Because if you lower energy prices, the manufacturing process, everything, both the service industry, manufacturing, everything lowers in price if there's lower energy. That's where we start, number one. That's why it's important to mention fracking. If Fetterman is dismissing it, he's dismissing the goal of most of this country, I believe, to have as low energy prices as we can because that gives us an advantage in our economy. Fetterman just ignores it and then lies that the Trump administration is only talking about cats and dogs.
Right.
And as we know, that is so far from the truth. But the reason he did that, the reason he was dismissive, and by the way, Welker should have said, since she asked the question 3 times, you never answered my question.
Right.
Why are you on here if you're going to dismiss that my question and these topics aren't important? The president, your favorite presidential candidate, changed her mind on fracking completely 180 degrees. It must be important. That's where you've got to hold them, hold their feet to the fire. But Welker isn't going to do that. As we all know.
No, it was a horrible attempt, and he can't get through it without lying multiple times over and over again. And he can't talk about fracking because he actually doesn't support fracking.
Yeah. Yep.
What is it you like about fracking? That's Kristen Welker wanting you to come out and own it. If you're going to lie, they can't do that.
And then he says that, his past opinions were taken out of context.
Yeah.
I'm for fracking. I'm not for fracking.
Right.
How do you take that out of context?
Right.
He's lying.
I support fracking.
Yes.
And she called him on it. Okay, great. You're lying about. Look, she's Kristen Welker. She's liberal. We're talking climate change here. By supporting fracking, that means you're killing the planet.
Yeah. What do you mean it's not important?
It's number one.
Fracking's killing the world.
I happen to live on this planet.
Yeah, you didn't see the same anger.
No.
That you see when she talks to Vance.
Right.
I'm telling you, her face when she was talking to Vance,
man.
I thought her skin was going to rip. It was so tense.
Yeah.
I really did. It was
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice, calm, and relaxed as Fetterman doesn't answer her question.
Right.
At all.
Right.
Dismisses it. Not important.
Right.
We have shown you why it's important. But as we've said, except, for example, maybe on anti-Semitism, he's clueless.
Yep. No, he's and he has to lie.
Yeah.
Look, he's not on the ballot, but his party is. So he has to be a good surrogate and lie. And tell the same lie she's telling. But you're not going to get away with that with the people of Pennsylvania. They know where you stand. The people who work in the industry darn sure know where you stand.
This was Gretchen Whitmer was on with Jake Tapper. She couldn't answer any questions either yesterday. Ready for this? Here's the team. Right. Listen to her answer. She can't answer anything. Here's the answer or the question on the Teamsters refusing to endorse Kamala.
You're from Michigan, a big union state. For the first time in almost 3 decades, the Teamsters union has decided to not endorse a presidential candidate. They have traditionally endorsed the Democrat. This comes after Donald Trump won the poll of Teamsters union members by 25 points. One pro-Harris union official told Politico that That poll is a red flag reminiscent of the 2016 election when Hillary Clinton underperformed among union households and among white men and ultimately did not win. Do you think this is all a red flag for Harris, especially in Michigan?
I can just tell you this. This election is going to be close. We've always known that. That's what happens in these presidential elections. And in a state like Michigan or Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, we know that this is going to be a close race.
That wasn't the question.
Nope.
All right. Now, she was asked a question on because she's a co-chair of the Harris campaign. Will she ever do interviews or press conferences? Here we go.
Only a few weeks left until this is all over. We've heard other Democrats in your position suggesting that they want to see more from Vice President Harris and Governor Walz in terms of not necessarily speeches in controlled environments, but town halls with voters, more interviews, mixing it up, press conferences. We're only 44 days to the election. Do you agree? Would you like to see more of that?
You know, I have incredible confidence in both the Vice President and Governor Walz. They have shown that they are happy warriors. They are able to answer tough questions, and they are eager to get back into the debate.
Nobody can answer a damn question, not even a surrogate for the campaign.
No.
Can't answer any questions.
No, because what do you say? They can't answer a question. How would you be able to answer a question as a surrogate? The media scrambles trying to defend her at times. Yeah, but what she wants to do is blah, blah, blah. I haven't heard her say that. So if you're a surrogate on a Sunday morning news show, this is exactly what you do. If you're in the media, you want this thing because she's not talking to the media. She's not doing a press conference.
Well, the reason I get is because they're happy warriors.
Mm-hmm. Joyful. 6 weeks from tomorrow is Election Day.
Wow.
6 weeks. Nothing's going to change between now and then. It would take something about one of the two candidates that is pretty shocking. And tell me what that would be about Donald Trump. Tell me what you would learn about Donald Trump between now and then.
Well, what I've seen from actually some Democrats is like, look, she's got to get out there and say, I'm part of this administration, but I have disagreements. I believe in fracking because of this. I believe that we must do this, this, and this, and just close that. We have to close the border. That's where I disagree. This administration talks about the fact of comprehensive immigration reform, but even the bill that she says she will reintroduce made it permanent. A permanent outside the immigration, the legal immigration process, made permanent that up to whatever the final tally was, that thousands of people could just come to the border and get into the country.
Yep.
We can't allow that. But she can't say any of that because she doesn't believe it.
Nope.
And so nothing's going to change. She had an opportunity to change, but it's not going to change. I believe that's why she wanted another debate on CNN. I think Trump was right going, nope. Sorry.
Yeah.
You had your chance.
There's no reason.
We offered Fox News earlier. You said no.
There's no reason.
Yep.
Zero reason at all for Trump to do a debate on CNN on October 23rd. Nope. Stelter writing the piece that
I saw
he wants J.D. Vance to have the last word. Whatever.
Fine.
Whatever. But it's not going to happen. There's not going to be a debate on CNN.
I saw that. I only saw the headline. I didn't read the article.
Yeah.
But then he said just last week, remember when he got back to CNN, his great analysis was Harris shouldn't do any interviews anymore.
Right. It's her words that are damaging her.
Right. That the image of her is all people want. Just give the image. She shouldn't need to talk. And then he comes out. Like I said, they have no self-awareness. They don't even know what they wrote or said 5 days previous.
Because they're desperate. They are absolutely desperate, just like the actual party is, just like the candidate is
Well, that's what
to find a place.
That's what happens when you stand for nothing.
Exactly.
Because that's what people think now. I don't know, because when they say, I don't know where she stands, and she hasn't made it clear because she's held two diametrically opposed positions just in the last 6 months. So I don't know where she stands. So as far as I'm concerned, she has no passion on any issue. She doesn't stand for anything.
Right.
And so.
And she's lying about it. She's clearly lying, so I can't trust her.
Right.
And she doesn't stand for anything.
And the media's not getting their talking points because they don't know what the talking points are from her.
Right. So they're scrambling.
Everybody's scrambling. They don't know where to go.
Yep, they're desperate.
866-90-RED-EYE.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
It's called the Meat and Poultry Processing Expansion Program,
which provides grants to help eligible processors expand their processing capacity, creating new, better, and more processing options for meat and poultry producers.
Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack announcing on Thursday the latest and last round of funding for that program, telling reporters,
through this program, we are awarding more than $35 million in grants to 15 independent meat processors in 12 states to increase processing capacity, spur competition to expand market opportunities for U.S. farmers, and to create jobs in rural areas.
Since the processing expansion program began, it has invested $325 million to support 74 projects.
So it's an exciting opportunity for us, particularly to help small and mid-sized family farming operations be able to have a fairer and better market opportunity.
In Washington, Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I just love this, so I'm reading the Brian Stelter album. Does Donald Trump really want his running mate to have the final debating word this fall, or does Trump want the opportunity for himself? He's trying to bait Trump, you know. It's what he's trying to do.
Right. Yeah.
To make him do another, debate. You know why? Yes, Trump does want J.D. Vance to have the final word. By the way, this was set up. Remember, Harris refused to do the Fox News debate.
Right.
Or there was another debate. There were two other debates that Trump wanted to set up, and she said no to both of them. So it's done. But does Donald Trump really want his running mate? Absolutely.
Oh, all day.
And we'll give you the reason why, coming in J.D. Vance's own words, coming up following the bottom of the hour.
Yeah. This is, if I'm advising the Trump campaign, this is your closer. This is your closer. Absolutely, Brian Stelter.
But like I said, I just find it interesting that he's attempting to bait Trump. Mm-hmm. You really want him to have the final word?
Oh,
Don't you? It's just like, and like I said,
I can't wait for that debate.
I just found it particularly funny when his first appearance on CNN last week is when he came out and said Harris doesn't need to talk anymore. It's just the image of her. She's a woman. She's black, and that's basically that's all. She's she's the young one. She's young and energetic, and so that's all she needs to promote. She doesn't need to talk anymore. He knows it. Why is Stelter saying this? He's trying to bait Trump because he also believes that she needs it. Yep. She needs a debate. I wonder what the internal polls are showing and whether they're moving already.
I think that they also want Trump. They believe it would help them because they want Trump to be the final debate, and they want that to be days before the election.
listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
And he's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Trying to... by the way, that debate thing never took hold at all.
The story from over the weekend?
Yeah.
No. It went nowhere.
That's why you and I laughed at the Brian Stelter from CNN.
Yeah.
Does Trump want J.D. Vance to have the last word before the election?
Yep.
Well, it's not the last word.
Well, in fact, it's part
of many
about
words.
5 weeks before the election, actually. In terms of the time, it's going to be on October 1st, so it would be over a month before the election.
Here's why Trump is fine with J.D. Vance having the last debate.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the back and forth between him and Kristen Welker of Meet the Press, his last meeting with her when they decided to talk about the border.
But I think there are reasons to think that DHS is underestimating. Whatever the real number is, it's way too high, right? It's millions upon millions of illegal immigrants that have come in just since Kamala Harris became the border czar a few years ago.
She was put in charge of the root causes of migration.
Well, the root causes of migration, I would say, Kristen, is that Kamala Harris refuses to do her job as border czar. And let's just start there. I want to answer your question, but I think it's important to sort of sequence this in the right way. So if you want to get control of the illegal immigration problem, you have to stop the bleeding. You have to stop so many people from coming here illegally in the first place, and that means undoing everything that Kamala Harris did practically on day one of the administration. You have to reimpose deportations. You have to stop catch and release. Stop granting asylum to every single person who comes in here and says that they need asylum, and stop granting mass parole. These policies are why we have the immigration crisis that we have. So I think focus on fixing the problem. Before we even fix the problem, we've got to stop the problem from getting worse.
And as you know, President Biden passed a series of executive actions, and illegal border crossings are now at their lowest levels in about 5 years, so much so that Greg Abbott is no longer busing people to other cities. But let me ask this fundamental question.
Please.
Fundamental question. Will families be separated under your mass deportation?
And again, because you made a point here, I do want to answer this question about families and about deportations, but you made this point that border crossings are lower. Border crossings at the southern border are lower because the Harris administration is sending more immigrants through the ports of entry. So instead of coming through the southern border, they're now being flown at taxpayer expense to the ports of entry all over our country. The number of illegal crossings, Kristen, this is a really important point. They're not any lower. They're just shuffling how the people are coming into the country in the first place. And this is very important.
They're able to process them more efficiently, but Greg Abbott's not setting them to other
Kristen,
states.
I don't want a border czar who makes it more efficient for illegal immigrants to come into this country. That's why we have the problem that we have.
Senator, to this question, because so many people want to know the answer.
Change the topic.
Yeah. Big question.
And you can tell her mind only works in one way. I've got to mention that Harris...
More efficient.
That Harris and Biden have made it more efficient. To come in. Therefore, Abbott isn't busing people.
Uh-huh.
Well, he already answered that question for you.
Yep.
Ms. Welker. He answered that.
Yep.
Hello, are you listening? He answered that. They're coming in from other areas to bypass the border. We're flying them directly in from cities in Mexico.
I can't wait. Can't wait for the debate between J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. I can't wait. I wish it were closer to the election. And it may be the last debate word, but it won't be the last word before the election.
No, it won't be.
And there is the, you have it right there where the liberal media is so desperate. There's got to be a frustration. There's got to be a frustration in these liberal newsrooms that they're getting no help from her. None. I think that has to be part of the anger that you see in the faces of her on Meet the Press, ABC this week, Stephanopoulos, when he had Byron Donalds on. Oh, my gosh. He was so angry. They're angry right now. Well, why is that? Because they know, whether it was when Biden was still in and he was horrible and they knew he couldn't last, or the fact that they clearly have buyer's remorse on Kamala Harris and they can't do anything about it. There was no way they were ever going to leapfrog Kamala Harris and just anoint Gavin Newsom or anybody else. Whoever it would have been, we can't find the rock star in the party, and that's because the Democrats don't have any rock stars. Now, the former governor of New York thinks he's still a rock star
Yes.
the way he talks, but he's not.
Did you notice? I mean, Welker is not asking him questions and listening to his answers.
No, she's
trying
to debate him.
She's trying to debate him.
Oh, yeah.
They do not interview surrogates for Harris at all.
Right.
The same way.
Right. No, not at all.
She didn't do it. That's why I played the Fettermen. She didn't do the same thing. Fetterman was allowed to complete his entire non-answer.
Right. The best she could do there was just repeat the question.
Right.
But that's not, you heard her debating J.D. Vance right there.
Right. She wasn't debating Fetterman.
No. Making it more efficient. No, but
Yep.
They're scrambling. They're desperate because they see their loser of a nominee. They see their side on the issues losing. And they don't know what to do. They're not, we've said numerous times over the years since Biden took office, the White House press corps shows up for talking points. And with a liberal administration, it's pretty simple. We show up, you give us our talking points, we go deliver the talking points, we go home, tomorrow, repeat. And this administration doesn't want to do that for whatever reason. They don't want to cooperate with their own side. It's been like pulling teeth. And now you have a nominee who won't do a press conference, who does these staged interviews, and she's only done a few. And now they've got to be scrambling. Give us our talking points. Give us something. Give us something. And this is the desperation that you see. This is the frustration. This is why she gets angry. Stephanopoulos gets angry. I'm sure they're really mad.
They all react in the same way with that.
Yeah.
That
right.
You only see with Republicans. You don't see it. And again, Fetterman did not answer the question.
Nope.
3 times.
Yep.
And she never interrupted him.
Right.
She allowed him to complete the non-answer 3 different times.
And then at the end, he kind of left it there, lingering. And she didn't step in and say, whoa, you've repeated that. Tell me what you like about fracking.
She changed the topic then.
Yep.
But when she brought up, that things are so efficient that Greg Abbott isn't busing people anywhere anymore.
Right.
And then he said, the whole point is you're saying we need to have a more efficient way of bringing illegal immigrants into the country and not go through the process that we have for legal immigration, but bypass it and give, what do you call it? Not amnesty. What do you call it?
Asylum.
Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
Give asylum to anybody who enters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you're saying since we're importing the same number of non-citizens into the country and temporarily giving them legal status through abusing the immigration system and creating these horrible problems, that it's okay as long as we're doing it more efficiently with taxpayer dollars, moving illegal immigrants into the country.
Right.
And when he explained it to her, the only thought in her mind was to revert. It wasn't even a debate point. It's that in her mind, she couldn't debate him. And so but Twice you said it, but Abbott isn't busing anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
Right. She really thought that was going to be a winner.
She did.
She thought these are pre-thought out debate points for her, not questions, debate points.
Yes.
But more efficient. I heard your weak point the first time you said it. And it is weak.
Oh, it's horribly weak. God, him
coming back saying, I don't want to make it more efficient for people to come here illegally.
Right. That came from the mind of a simpleton.
Yep.
It did. And using that Governor Abbott debate point twice,
it
was like you lost it the first time.
Right.
And she brought it up again, then moved on to a different topic.
Right. And the word efficient. Oh, I'll just use this. See, I'll use efficient. I'll bring up Greg Abbott. Ooh, I'm going to get J.D. Vance. He crushed it.
As if she's saying to herself, the American people will really love it.
Yeah.
That Governor Abbott can't ship people elsewhere because we're bringing them in through airplanes from foreign cities right into American cities in order to help destroy the quality of life in those cities by putting the full weight and burden of the financing and the taking care of these immigrants on the cities.
This is why, again, he's a great surrogate. I think he's a great pick for Veep. That kind of defeat that you just heard will make you cry unless you're Jerry Jones. It will make grown people cry.
All right, so here we go. A recent study says that American universities who have been forced to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion departments have instead just chosen to rebrand them. The research conducted by criticalrace.org found that of the 26 universities evaluated in states that have banned DEI programs, 10 chose merely to replace them with new offices with similar programming or personnel. That includes major public universities such as Florida State, University of Alabama, University of Utah, Oklahoma State University, University of Tennessee, and University of Iowa. It's not going away. It's just going underground, the criticalrace.org report says. Whether campuses are renaming their DEI offices or moving administrators into other departments to do the same work, DEI still exists. Campus Reform has reported on various attempts by such schools to rebrand rather than fully eliminate the DEI-based offices, as their states have told them they have to. In May, the University of Iowa replaced its DEI office with the Division of Access, Opportunity, and Diversity, following a state law against DEI programming in higher education. The diversion was designed to ensure compliance with the new state law while helping students, faculty, and staff build cultural competency skills needed to understand and respect the values, attitudes, norms, and beliefs that differ from other cultures.
No, they're not going to stop their agenda. You know, when we said, look, a president of a university stepping down, these kind of, that doesn't change the mindset at these universities. So if they are forced to abandon DEI policy or decide to, as a matter of basically tempering the media response or response from former students, then you're still going to get your agenda done one way or the other.
Meanwhile, it didn't work in Texas. In Texas, they passed their ban in January. UT Dallas renamed their DEI office as the Office of Campus Resources and Support. However, that was shut down in April. The Texas Senator Brandon Creighton insisted the law demands that universities cannot evade its provisions by merely changing the titles of DEI initiatives. And I'm sure if DeSantis finds out in Florida, that will stop quickly. 866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Every week seems to have a new, different twist to it, but we started out today's show, as we really did after the last debate, and said, okay, everything's really done. We've been saying that for a while now. There's really nothing new when it comes to policy. Everybody knows where Donald Trump stands. Nobody knows where she stands. And that's where we are right now.
Right.
I mean, we know where she stands, but if you are somebody who is truly ignorant and do not know her past history, or you do know a little bit of her past history, you do know that she's flip-flopped on all the major issues where, you know, Trump actually considers her MAGA and wanted to send her a MAGA hat. So you question, you say, well, if she's held diametrically opposed opinions,
you know,
and
she's lying.
And she won't explain it. Either she's lying or she doesn't have any strong opinions on anything. If you have a strong opinion, why would you lie on where you stand?
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.